morning. We're here at the Big Adventure Show. We're with Jason Gonzalez, who did some of the work for Henry Barajas on Tata Rambo. I'm really interested in how that project kind of came together.
I've known Henry for a long time. We've always talked about doing something together. We've never really had the project, and he had written this book and had another artist in mind. And then I was at a point where I was contacting this editor that I knew if he had any work for me. And Henry went to that same editor and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this book with this artist." And then he's like, "Oh no, you know what artist you should use is you should use Gonzo." So even though Henry and I knew each other, he didn't know I was looking to take on a project, and I didn't know he was looking to find an artist for a project. But this editor who knows us both put us in touch. So it ended up working out well for both of us. So, and then we were like, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. We should totally work together." And that's how my involvement came to be with the project.
Okay, and so the project finally got funded.
Yes.
You guys are going to be doing, or have you completed the first book?
First issue's done. There's a couple of tiny little edits that have to happen here and there. We have an editor's working with us. I literally last night was just doing like some very smart little, small little minor art changes that had to happen. A couple of little like nudges here and there on a couple of things. So it is done. We sent off what I'm calling the final version of it. Went off to the editor today for her to give it its blessing. So I feel like it's going to get sent out in the next day or two. So yeah, it's done. The art is done, the lettering's done. There's just getting them together. Sometimes there's tiny little like adjustments that have to get made, but it's done for all intents and purposes.
That's really cool. How did you feel working on a project that was very close to Henry's heart as far as trying to get all the little nuances about his great grandfather?
I was really protective of it because I know it's so close to him, and so it's like someone giving you their family album, or giving you a bunch of photos and saying, "Here, make an album of this for me." And so I had to be respectful of of his emotional attachment to the subject matter. But then, as a storyteller, my obligation is to make sure that the story reads well. So occasionally, I would be like, "Hey, maybe if we did this as 2 pages instead of 1, we could maybe make this seem like a bigger moment, or maybe if we shorten this down, it'll make this moment seem bigger." So my approach to it was always with maintaining the emotional truth of the project and the actual historical truth of it, but also making it a good story, but being respectful to Henry's family. Like, I didn't want to change anything just to sensationalize it. Like, I was very kind of respectful of the truthful nature of what we're doing. So I mean, it was very kind of gentle, I guess, is probably my overall approach.
As far as the artwork, I love your style.
Oh, thank you.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I really can't wait to get my hands on the copy. I'm glad that it was funded. Where do you guys see the comic book going as far as the next version or the next issue coming out?
Awesome. We can edit that out, right?
Sure.
Just keep it in. It'll be fun. I know that we're doing at least 2 more volumes of it. So this essentially, even though they're not issue, there is an issue for the Kickstarter backers. For the general public, it's not really a per issue thing. But 2 more issues in quotation marks are going to come out. And then I think eventually we're going to try to get that into like a physical trade paperback form. So there is more story beyond this first issue. At least kind of what I'm calling 2 more issues or 2 more volumes. Because the first issue is 30 pages, and I feel like going over the story with Henry just yesterday, actually, it feels like the second part is going to be pretty substantial too. It's not going to be just a 22-page comic book. It's probably going to be closer to 30 again as well. And then the third part will also probably be close to 30. And at this point, we're thinking we might even have to spill over into a 4th part. So we're going to tell the complete kind of story arc, that we have in mind, or that Henry has in mind. But we're going to do it in such a way that it doesn't. We don't want to either cram everything into it has to be 30 pages, so now we got to cram all of this into 30 pages. But we also don't want to go, we should do a 50-page book, and then have to blow everything up to where we have 2-page spreads of people having a coffee or something. We don't want to just make it big for big sake, and we don't want to make it small for small sake either. So we want to let the story, the beauty of being kickstarted, not having to deal with publisher, also it being a digital project that doesn't have to confine to a page length until we decide to print it. We can kind of make it whatever length it needs to be, and not let the format dictate the story. We can let the story dictate the format.
I think that's really awesome.
Thank you.
I love your Monolith Latino.
Oh, thank you.
That's so awesome, and I love the artwork of Batman 3000.
Oh, thank you.
What influences you
Oh.
to come up with because it has a Latino flavor.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think I kind of like I really wanted to be a mainstream comic artist when I first started doing comic books, but I think like my Latino upbringing kind of always got in there, and it didn't really necessarily like make me the best traditional kind of comic book artist. But the more I kind of leaned into like just doing what I like, which obviously has like a Latino feel to it. I mean, I grew up in Southern California, I'm like Latino, with Catholic school. Like I have a lot of like kind of Catholic iconography. I've got like the kind of 1980s punk aesthetic that I grew up in Orange County, and also like my Latino upbringing. So being able to like kind of fold those all into like my love of like old comic books, like because to me comic books have like a very like a Marvel house style from the 60s. Like that's like a comic book to me, you know, like. And so I've always loved like kind of Jack Kirby. Trying to think, Salvation, John Romita Sr., kind of like Marvel house style. And so I've always kind of loved that. But like when you marry that kind of like with a little bit of like Latino flair and a little bit of like kind of like Catholic iconography and a little bit of like kind of punk rock DIY, it all just kind of comes out in like being what I do. And when I started my own comic, when I did like La Mano del Destino, I worked at a company where I was like a hired hand, right? They weren't really having me do anything that was like me. It was like what the company did. I just kind of contributed to it. So when I lashed out on my own, I had a portfolio full of other ideas. They were all kind of basic comic booky stuff, but I had pages of La Mano in there as well, like 200 pages. And without a fail, every editor I talked to would pull those out and be like, "These are cool. You need to do this." And so I kind of just the industry told me like, "Hey man, when you do kind of what's true to your heart, like people respond to it, like they feel the love in it." So I did my story about like a luchador, and I made it like in the 60s in Mexico, and I like made it like a full-on like Latino comic. Like I could have called the comic like El Revenjo or something like anglified like that, but like I'm like no, it's gonna be like La Mano del Destino. It has to have a Spanish title, so there's a small barrier to entry, right? Like if you can't get past the fact that there's a small bit of translation that has to happen for you to understand the title, then this book's not for you. You know what I mean? Like I'm willing to let go anyone who's not willing to look past like a word like mono. Everyone goes to the bathroom and sees like the las manos. Like you know the wash your hands sign. You should know the word for hand. And then like Destino is just destiny kind of like it's like it's not that hard a phrase, but if you can't get past it, then my book is not for you. And I really wanted to make a book that was like for Latinos. I wanted to like. So often in like American pop culture, you see like Latino culture like portrayed as like a punchline, as a joke. Like whenever you see Mexico in a movie in America, it's all sepia toned brown and shitty. And I'm like, have you ever seen Mexico? Have you seen like a Latino neighborhood? Like those houses are pink and blue with like anybody got a brown house in Mexico? What are you talking about? So I really wanted to like showcase like the bright, vibrant hues of like Latino culture and talk about the subject matter like something that is inherently Mexican. And so, I mean, it was just, but the more I kind of leaned into doing what I knew was like authentic to the culture, the better off, like better well received it's done for me. Like it's like if you do it right, people feel that on like a cellular level. And so I mean, it's done well for me. And I feel the same thing with like Tata Rambo. Like it's like when you put your love into it, people sense the love coming off.
Oh yeah, and Henry really expressed a lot of love. As far as comic book that you're doing on your own.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing other stuff?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would like to. So right now I'm committed to doing the rest of the Tata Rambo issues or chapters, whatever we're calling them. I'm going to say chapters. There will be the other 2 chapters. I've got one more issue of La Mano del Destino coming out that's going to wrap this arc up. And then I'm going to do my trade paperback. And the trade paperback is going to be a pretty big undertaking for me because I'm going to do it as a flip book. So it's going to be in English on one side and Spanish on the other side. So it'll be a bilingual book. You can read it in English or Spanish. You're going to get a lot of like back matter that I'm going to put in the center of the book. Like I really want to I want people who have bought the issues to want to buy the trade paperback too. I want to make it a special like, oh, you didn't just get the same thing twice. You know, like I want to really make it a special like art object for people to own. So like that's going to take up a bunch of my time. The Tata Rambo is going to take up a bunch of my time. I've got another book kind of in the works that may or may not happen, but I still have to work on the pitch for that. And then I have some other things with La Mano that are happening that I've got to kind of shake out. So as far as other like projects I can announce, other than Tata Rambo and continuing to do La Mano, like those are happening. I would like to do other things. I've had interest in doing other things, but I don't want to abandon the things that I've started to do other things. I don't want like if Marvel comes to me and like, hey, we get a Spider-Man book for you. At this point in my day, I'd have to say no because I'm too committed to doing other things. So like I don't want to short shrift my life because at the end of the day, if I do a big project for a big company, that helps that company. Doesn't help me. I mean, they'll pay me and that money is nice, but that doesn't do anything for me if I do a Batman thing right now, right? Like that helps Batman, that helps DC. But if I do La Mano, that helps build the thing that I'm trying to build, and that's to elevate like kind of like cultural awareness kind of stuff. So
Sure.
I'd rather do my passion projects.
Excuse me. And especially nowadays, with the way the climate is going, it makes a difference for us. I think that having books that identify us as a culture, having the colors that are very representative of the love of life that we have, even our perception of these events.
Oh, for sure. Like those was just yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think in elevating the kind of heroes that we elevate, like it says a lot about our culture without being lectured. Like it's a fun story that you can engage with, but you can also see the kind of heroes that we celebrate. It gives us an opportunity to showcase our beauty, right? Rather than beat people up with like the details of our struggles, let's show them our beauty, what it is that's great about our culture, and do it in a way that's like that's attractive, right? Like when people, when someone's telling you about the things they love, you want to listen to that. When they're telling you about the things they hate, you're like, yeah, I get it, man. Life's, you know what I mean? Like we all got problems. So I want to help I want to help elevate us as a culture by just showcasing our heroes and showcasing our beauty.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much.
No problem, man.
Is there a website that people can go and look at your art?
Yeah, you can go to jgonzodesigns.com or castleandkeypublications.com. So Castle and Key has the comic and it's got like my web store and stuff. There's also a link from jgonzodesigns.com to Castle and Key, so either one will do. Yeah.
Okay, and are you going to be doing any other shows for the rest of the year?
The rest of the year I'm done for 2018. In March of 2019 I'm going to be at the Latino Comic Expo, which is going to be in Modesto, California this year. And it's like the middle of March. I don't know the exact dates. And I'm trying to do C2E2. I haven't heard back from them yet, so I'll find out. And then I don't know beyond that what my other cons are going to be. But as far as 28 is concerned, this is it for me, man. Okay. It's November. I'm done.
No. But for people that want to come visit or people that want to come get to interact with you, it's always nice for them to know.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So yeah, for sure, Latino Comics Expo will be there. C2E2 is a maybe. I always do Acme Comic Fest in Mesa, Arizona. I usually do Phoenix Comic Fest. I always do Heroes Con. So those are like kind of my always. They're all good places to see me. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
No problem. It's great talking to you.
Thank you.